So thank you for joining us today. In behalf of ASOCOPI, we are very happy because this is our first webinar this year. We are very pleased to welcome you to this space that ASOCOPI has created. Today, we continue with our series of webinars that, as many of you know, started during the pandemic. And we decided that this is a great opportunity for us to share and being part of this community and grow as a community. They're held the last Thursday of every month with different relevant and updated topics that for sure contribute to the professional development of English teachers in Colombia. We also want to invite you to participate in our annual conference from the Global South, Our Roots, Perspectives, and Transformations, which this year will take place at Universidad de Caldas in the beautiful city of Manizales. So we hope that you can all join us for this very special event. And of course, today we are going to be talking about our many events that we have in the in ASOCOPI, like, for example, our webinars, our workshops. We have many surprises for you this year. Our diplomados are already happening. Our next diplomado will be teaching English to children, and you will be hearing more about it today during our session. Let's begin today's webinar, EFL Transformation Through Research Seedbeds. Our special guest today is Professor Clara Onatra. So Professor Clara Onatra works as a professor and researcher at Universidad Libre in the BA in Foreign Languages program. Professor Onatra holds a PhD in education from Universidad de Baja California. Professor, thank you very much for accepting this invitation, for accepting being in this webinar and sharing all those wonderful things that you have to share today with us. And of course, to our audience for being here. We are very glad to have you, and we hope that you join us on the last Thursday of every month. And as I said, please don't leave before it ends, because we have great news and some special surprises for you. Professor Onatra, the floor is all yours. You're muted.
Okay. Just give me a moment. Okay, very good. So good afternoon, everyone. So for me, it's a pleasure being here, presenting here. I'm very happy. And well, so I'll be sharing with you some information that I found out in my doctoral thesis. And well, so this is my webinar. It's ELT Transformations Through Research Seedbeds. Okay, so first I'll show you the agenda of activities. So first we'll start like talking about what a seedbed is, right? Then seedbeds in Colombia, then BA programs in foreign languages in Colombia, characteristics of Colombian seedbeds in BA in foreign languages programs. And in that way, so how it is transforming the ELT field. Okay, so let's get started with this. So Inge, do you have any idea about it? What's a seedbed? As a general thing, not research seedbeds, just a seedbed. Do you have any idea? Any person?
Remember that you just need to open your microphone, or you can also participate actively in the chat. So what do you think a seedbed is? Or what do you know about seedbeds? Any plants lover around?
Well, no problem.
I can help you this.
Yes. Sure.
Oh, well, we have somebody opening his microphone, Miguel Bautista.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, I knew this term, but I know it as a hotbed. And myself, I participate at the university in one of those, and it's just, well, at that time was to socialize ideas or projects that start just with an idea. So it's just like starting a point with a project, but just with the first idea.
Okay, thank you so much. Very good. Thank you. Yeah, even there is a problem with the translation of this word because it's semillero in Spanish. And I found information about seedbeds and hotbeds. That's right. Thank you for your opinion.
We have a couple of participations in the chat. It says, Ulrich says, a fertile soil or favorable environment for growth to take place. And Professor Melba Livia says a fertile ground for things to grow in general terms.
That's totally right. And that's the first thing I'll start with, in just like the general definition of it, right? So according to Collins Dictionary, so it's an area of ground, yes, usually with specially prepared earth where young plants are grown. Exactly, young plants. And in here, also a plot of land in which seeds or seedlings are grown before being transplanted. Okay, so this is very important because my talk is going to be focused on pre-service teachers, and definitely they are seen as young plants that are grown. Even they can be transplanted too. So this is what I'll be talking about. Okay, now I have in here a definition by Granados et al. In terms of the necessity of creating the semilleros as a generational renewal or generational change, because in this moment we have different professors at universities, but definitely we need to change, right? To change people, methodologies, right? So that's why we have in here that need, and also the necessity of improving scientific practices and to develop a little bit more the science, let's say science. Okay, so this is what we have in here. Also, we have another definition by Molineros. This author establishes seedbeds as learning communities. And this is a concept that I like a lot because it's where one learns to learn and there is an ability to teamwork too. Okay, so we have different definitions about semilleros, right? I dare to give my own definition, saying that are a space of learning, analysis, discussion, inquiry, and teamwork guided by a teacher that is an expert about a specific topic and passionate for a change in the context where the research work is being carried out. Okay, so now research seedbeds or hotbeds in Colombia, when did it all start? So here I have Quintero et al. And they established that, again, it was the necessity of renewal policy, right? And again, development of science. In here, I have like the trajectory of research seedbeds in Colombia based on Quintero et al. Too. Okay, so before 1980, it was a curriculum per subjects with teaching research. In the 80s, there was Decreto 80. Research was part of the curriculum. Thesis was seen as graduation requirement, and research by professors was stronger. In the 90s, we had Ley 115, an educational reform here in Colombia, research projects connected to practicum during this decade, or well, the first part of this decade. Then in the late 90s, research seedbeds are born. There are some curricular reforms, and there was a program like Jóvenes Investigadores by Colciencias in that time. Now, in the new century, well, seedbeds, we have seedbeds associations, right? There are some networks that are working specifically on this. There is a strength of research groups, and there are also some academic events at the present. So there are interdisciplinary projects, high use of ICT tools, publications by undergraduate students, and research seedbeds events specifically for semilleristas, right? Okay, so now the skills that are necessary or that are very visible within a research seedbed are teamwork, public speaking, academic writing, responsibility, and leadership. Teamwork because as Miguel said at the beginning, so it is a group that gets together, people discuss specific topics, right? Public speaking because, for example, students are encouraged to give presentations to share with the community what they have been working on, their projects. Academic writing because, as I said before, so students are like guided by a teacher, and sometimes the result of this is an academic article, for example. Responsibility because they have to comply with the duties, right? Being part of our research, seedbed, and leadership. Leadership because they are leading a project in a specific community. Okay, so who are the actors within a research seedbed? So we have students, professors, and institutions. So, well, now specifically about our BA programs in foreign languages in Colombia, so I have the following. Well, for me, this study was very important in the sense that it broadened my mind, like showed me different aspects. When I started, I thought that the research focus was especially on foreign languages, but to my surprise, and it was very good to see this. So research seedbeds are working on indigenous communities and also like Criolla or Palenquero language. So it was very, very interesting to see this aspect. So it's not only Spanish, English, and French, but it's also other things that are happening in the context, right? Okay, so there are around 53 BA programs in foreign languages in Colombia, according to the information that I found last year. And well, I could contact all the programs, all the universities, but I'll show you the panorama as it was. So there are 53 BA programs in Colombia, right? And there are 51 universities that offer these programs. There are 2 universities, one in Bogotá and one in Boyacá, that offer 2 licenciaturas, right? Or licenciatura programs. So one is in Spanish and English, and the other is in Spanish and foreign languages, or Spanish, English, and French, right? I could interview 29 professors, which corresponds to 57% of the total of the population. So I interviewed them as well as I ran a survey with them. So it was 29 surveys too. And there were 78 surveys to semilleristas. Okay, so this is what you're going to be like seeing today. So cities of the BA in foreign languages interviewed. So it was Bogotá, especially Medellín, Cali, Armenia, Bucaramanga, Barranquilla, Florencia, Ibagué, Manizales, Montería, Neiva, Pereira, Río Negro, Sincelejo, Valledupar, and Zipaquirá. As you can see, there are many places. My ideal was to interview all the programs, but it wasn't possible because of different reasons. Sometimes it was time constraints, sometimes it was difficult to organize agendas, or simply I didn't get any reply from the other programs, right? Okay. And by the way, I know that there are some professors in here that I interviewed. So thank you so much. This is a chance for me to thank you, because it was very fruitful and very enriching, the experience of having interviewed you and to know all the things, the great things that you are doing in your semillers. Okay. Okay, so 29 professors interviewed, leading seedbeds in these languages, 18 in English, 5 in Spanish as a mother tongue, 1 of Spanish as a foreign language, French as a foreign language, of course, and indigenous and English 2, and Palenquero and English 2. Okay. Modality of programs, 26 face-to-face, 3 online, 2 in Bogotá, 1 in Medellín. And well, nature of universities, so half and half, public and private. Just there is a little difference, a very slight difference of private institutions. And participants' age range, so professors, very young professors, by the way, especially between 30 and 50 years old, like the majority, as well as students, very young students, so especially between 21 and 25, okay, most of them. Now, professors' academic profile, like almost 80% are ready with their master's degree, and like 2021 are ready with their doctoral degrees. Okay, so language spoken by professors. When I asked this question, so I gave the options such as English, French, Portuguese, German, Italian, no more. But it was interesting to see that, of course, they had the chance to add any other language, and to see that maybe I was very focused on foreign languages. For me, it was new. I have to accept it that it was new. And it was very interesting for me to see this, that they are referring to different languages, not only foreign ones, but for example, this, Palenquero, or even, for example, in here I have this answer, ninguno, because I could talk to professors that are teaching Spanish, right? So not necessarily are researching in foreign languages, but Spanish. Okay. So students semesters, so we have especially 9th semester, and it's something like in the way that I analyze, it's especially students that are like ending up their major. So the idea is to start with our semilleros like from first semesters too. Okay, so how long have students been in the research seedbed? So especially 1, 2, 3 semesters, okay? And it depends. There are some institutions that have some regulations, and it depends also on that, because for example, the minimum time required if you want to get graduated with the semillero possibility is this. Yeah, it depends. It varies depending on the context. Now, the question that I had was, what are the characteristics of research seedbeds in the BA in foreign languages programs in Colombia? So I focus especially on 3 dimensions in relation to the mission of the semilleros, structure, as well as functions. However, there was some emerging coding that I wasn't like searching, but it was very important to see how it was reflected in the students' and professors' answers. So we're going to get started with the first, which is structure. So 1 or 2 professors as coordinators, 1 student as a leader sometimes, weekly meetings between 1 and 11 years old, the semilleros, right? There are some interdisciplinary seedbeds, undergrad and grad students. That was also an aspect that caught my attention because I thought that it was specifically for undergraduate students. There was a concept very interesting that was dialogic relationships, mentorship and seedbeds as a graduation option. Okay, so I'll show you some parts of the analysis, right, of the results better, so that you can see both professors and semilleristas' voices. So in here, for example, you can see very well here. Yes, how can I put this in here? Okay, so sorry, before. Dialogic relationships. In here, for example, we have, and it was an aspect that was very important to see, that is not the teacher, the one that owns the knowledge, and students are passive subjects. No, in here, I could notice that there is a relationship that is one-to-one, right? So even professors were mentioning this affection. They were showing this like horizontalidad, and I like this, as well as like a pedagogical relationship. And it's something very important because it's not only like that we have a hierarchy and we focus on that. No, it's actually it's like peers. And I was like, wow, because normally it's the teacher is the one, is the leader, is the only one, right? But in here it's a different concept. Okay. Mentorship, in here, for example, in here we have el mentor en investigaciones como un apoyo. It's like a support, it's like a cultivator. So mentorship, it was something also very important to see this concept. In here, we have seedbeds as a graduation option. So in some universities, it is a graduation option. However, I have to say that, for example, in some cases it is not. And even there is a sad story of one university. The professor was telling me that this professor wanted to have one of the students and to be the thesis advisor. The university said, no, this person has already been assigned another professor as the thesis advisor, but that student had a problem with that thesis advisor, and even they had to create a derecho de petición, asking for their right, like to be with the corresponding seedbed leaders. So for example, this, and it's another recommendation that I'm giving, like, hey, so this should be accepted as a graduation option, because this is a voluntary work that students do on their own. It's extra time. It's I mean, they do it for free, let's say. So why not to have the motivation for them to work on their own final project at the university. Okay. Okay, so now programs that are part of seedbeds, especially undergraduate programs, followed by master's degrees, then some students of doctoral programs and specialization too. Okay, so this is what I have. And it's also another important aspect because it's like having, you know, different points of view. Even there are some interdisciplinary seedbeds. For example, people from our licenciatura programs working with people from arts, design, even engineering. So it's very interesting to see this. Okay, now the second aspect, that is mission. That is it has to do with the objective of the seedbed, students' motivation, presentations in academic events, contributions to the scientific knowledge, and impact on communities, overcoming difficult situations, and gratifying experiences and expectations. Okay, so let's see. For example, in relation to the objective, I have this. For example, I'll read one part of this. It says, el semillero intenta pues hacer investigación principalmente en lo que tiene que ver con la enseñanza de las lenguas, right? That's the main focus. Pero más allá de la enseñanza, de la formación de maestros y en el impacto que un maestro puede dar en la sociedad, entonces el semillero no se enfoca solamente en lo que hace o la labor del maestro de inglés, sino también en algunos otros asuntos educativos. For example, in here, social aspects, local aspects, specifically of the region. So it is an aspect to highlight too, because it's that students are taking into account their contest needs, right? And they are working over that, right? Okay, in here, in relation to the objective 2, it was something that caught my attention. One of the students perceived the objective of the semillero as this: analizar las experiencias educativas de los excombatientes de las FARC vinculados a las ofertas educativas del departamento en el componente educativo del proceso de reincorporación a la vida civil en el contexto colombiano. Wow. When I read this, I was amazed, right? Because as I told you, at first I thought that the main focus was going to be on foreign languages, that's it. But to see this, that it is very close to our reality, which is hard, very hard in some cases. So it's that our pre-service teachers are like giving a different, I don't know, in my case, in my personal case, they are giving me another perspective of research and how they are analyzing things and how they are deciding what to research about. And it's something that they see, for example, in here, right? Now, something in here in relation to our Spanish, it was one of the professors saying, cuando tú me preguntas por los objetivos, tienen que ver con la sociolingüística, busca establecer esas relaciones entre lengua y sociedad. Entonces nosotros describimos el español colombiano, nuestro español. Aplicamos la metodología de sociolingüística como que lo que uno aprende en sociolingüística lo puede aplicar en este trabajo de campo que hacemos. For example, in this case, the professor and the students go to a park where there are some people like rappers doing freestyle, right? So they ask for permission to record their songs, they record them, and then they analyze what they are saying in the songs. So this is so beautiful too, right? It was for me a surprise to see this again, because I had a different idea when I started my study, right? So this is, and the way that the professor is saying that, el español colombiano, nuestro español, it's like, it's somehow demonstrating some identity, right? Okay, so also from the students' point of view, they see the objective of the semillero as a space to work, as a space to work on inclusion, habilidades investigativas, identidad de los docentes, pensamiento crítico, reflexión a través de literatura y otras manifestaciones artísticas y culturales como poesía, danza, cine, teatro, formar investigadores alrededor de temáticas relacionadas con el aprendizaje del francés. Let's say that it was what I had in my mind. They are going to focus on that, no more. But you see, there are different possibilities. Another question that I asked the students was, has presentado en eventos académicos, and half and half, right? So like yes and no. Okay. At what level have students presented in academic events, especially local level, national level, and even international level? That was also a surprise for me to see this. Wow. So some students have received financial support from universities. So that's why they have been able to present. In what kind of events have students presented? So for example, in here, semilleros a nivel general, most of them, específicamente del área de enseñanza de lenguas, okay, it's also like 32%. Semilleros enfocados a enseñanza de lenguas, very good. So now we have some events that are especially focused on this. And even there are other possibilities in here, but we have this. So, and in this, específicamente del área de enseñanza de lenguas is, for example, such as ASOCOPI or ACOLPROF or even other events, right? Okay. And now, do you like being part of the seedbed? Look at this. It's almost 100% saying yes, we like this. Despite they don't have the right conditions maybe in some of the cases because it's like that. Or for example, there is a university that is saying, hey, for semilleros, all the semilleros have to present in events, they have to represent our university. Okay, so resources. No, sorry, the university doesn't have resources. You have to look for them on your own. And there are some semilleros doing activities like, for example, raffles and I don't know, activities like selling things because they have to come up with the resources on their own. So it's like, how? So, and it's even worse when it's the own university saying, yes, you have to be representing our university, but there are no resources, okay? And even though almost 100% of the students are convinced, are very happy being part of the semillero, well, they see in here that there are no like incentives, sorry, by the university for example, representing the university or doing other things, okay? Now, students gratifying experiences. In here, students said el aprendizaje, for example, in here. El aprendizaje de los compañeros diferentes y de las diferentes investigaciones, for example. They are also very happy with the acompañamiento de los asesores, for example. And also a very important topic in here is la interculturalidad y la experiencia con un resguardo, okay? To my surprise, even in Bogotá and like cities, like urban contexts, there are students that are going to different resguardos indígenas around Bogotá or around the cities. They are going there, like checking what the necessities, what are the necessities, and well, like to see how they can contribute to that. Now, also something important here is to know different like educational realities. They consider that it is important to present in academic events. In here, for example, aprender sobre culturas indígenas, poder terminar nuestro libro, publicar nuestros 3 artículos, which, oh my gosh, my total admiration. And it says in here, gracias a los semilleros pude aplicar a una beca completa de pasantía de investigación en Canadá. And these are like students' voices, okay, in relation to how they have felt being part of a semillero. Okay, now contributions to the scientific knowledge, and I have scientific knowledge in quotes because in my theoretical framework, I have a discussion part. There is one author that says when undergraduate students are working on research, okay, it's like they are playing, like when a kid is playing with toys, but it's not a rigorous like research connotation. And well, there are a lot of opinions against this, okay, saying that no, you cannot say that. And I'm going to show you that semilleros are contributing, yeah, in a highly way to this scientific knowledge, right? And here it says, for example, sí, estamos haciendo aportes al conocimiento científico. Okay, the 29 professors I interviewed and I asked this question, right? They all told me, yes, we are contributing to science, to new knowledge, to scientific knowledge, yes. And here, for example, it says, porque estamos mirando cosas que no se han visto mucho acá en la región, o por lo menos no se han visto desde la perspectiva de nuestra facultad. So this is very interesting to see. El semillero ha tenido producción académica, it's half and half. And in this part, wow, it's very difficult to write an academic paper and to be accepted after a lot of corrections. I know that that process is very difficult. So it's very worthy mentioning that some students, with the guidance of the professor in most of the cases, they have been able to publish in different journals. Okay, now in here, for example, especially the products that they have published are related to articles, chapters, in here, for example, memorias, even libros completos, well, etc. Okay. Now, in here I have, I'm sorry that I know that it doesn't look like very clear, but in here I have some of the students and professors writing with students in different academic journals. So this is what I have in relation to articles, as well as capítulos de libro, right? Memorias, for example, and even books. Okay, so in here, this is something that I like to highlight too, because it's not an easy job to write, and it's even more difficult when it is in an academic way, right? So I want to congratulate professors and students that are doing this, because it's a way to make others aware of the activities that are being done inside the semillero. Okay, now this is the other dimension related to functions. So meetings, discussions, research topics, and advising processes. So meetings, discussions. So for example, what do they do? Los semilleristas comparten su experiencia. And for example, there are some like senior semilleristas that are like more time inside the group, so they can help the young ones that are like starting, right? Now, topics, for example, again, identidad cultural. For example, this is very important. In here it says, acá hay varios que trabajan en comunidad indígena, pero ninguno de la licenciatura en inglés. Entonces es muy raro para algunos ver que alguien que trabaja en una licenciatura en inglés o que está estudiando inglés se interese en ir a una comunidad indígena a trabajar identidad cultural. Para ellos es difícil, ¿no? Pero pues ahí se hace la lucha en cuanto a aclararles que nosotros primero somos profesores y después somos hablantes del inglés. I really like this part. Son diferentes, son dos cosas que van de la mano, pero pues primero somos profesores y nos interesa también la educación, los procesos educativos, incluidos los de reconstrucción de identidad cultural que tienen que ver con eso. So for example, this, okay? So before speaking a foreign language, we are teachers. And we are very worried about this education processes, okay? Very good. In here, oh, this is something very worthy mentioning too, because in here, one of the semilleristas is working on this topic. Inclusión de niños sordos en el aprendizaje del inglés, like how to teach English, oh my gosh, to this kind of students. So at that moment of the interview, there was nothing about it, right? There was nothing about it. So it is like we are having new topics, new things, new trends, new like transformations of what maybe we were used to, right? So this is very interesting to see this. Also research topics. There is one professor that is also checking how other semilleros are working. So he is analyzing this, for example, okay? Now, in relation to advising processes, the students really value the fact that their professors are helping them with the academic writing, as well as the public speaking part, even for events, academic events, or presentations, like for example, the oral defense. They receive help about databases, you know, that sometimes this process is difficult too, so they really value this. Now, the emerging coding. Okay, so in here we have They were talking about institutional support, professors' reflections towards seedbeds, criticisms to MinCiencias, criticisms to Red Colsi, which is Red Colombiana de Semilleros de Investigación, and MinCiencias is like the Ministry of Science and Technology here in Colombia, and graduates profiles. So we have this in relation to the institutional support. He tenido apoyo de la universidad, sin embargo, mucha burocracia. So for example, to get the financial support, it's a very long process. And in here, bueno, me he sentido bien, pero con muchísimo trabajo. Las horas no alcanzan. So this is another recommendation for the institutions, like to see the hours that professors are like to work on specific things, like for example, the semillero, right? Criticism to MinCiencias, for example, lo que está sucediendo con MinCiencias, digamos que el proceso se volvió un poco corrupto. Voy a decir corrupto en el sentido de que solamente se espera producción y producción top, o publicaciones, o todo aquello que puntúe más para tu CVLAC, que en realidad de pronto el hecho de que la investigación y la investigación formativa tenga lugar dentro del semillero. For example, as I told you, there are semilleros that are working with rural communities. So what about that? So it should count too, because it's a lot of work, right? But maybe MinCiencias and maybe all the standards, even at an international level, are paying attention, especially to the production, like how many people are citing you, or where you are like publishing. So this is a very like deep criticisms on this. Okay, criticism to Red Colsi because of this. It says, well, Red Colsi has an event each year too, and it's especially for semilleros, but in relation to different areas, not specifically humanities or our specific area. In here, the professor said, entonces, por ejemplo, sí veo que la investigación cualitativa para todas las licenciaturas tiende a ser un poco menos atractiva que la presentación de ponentes, la presentación de pilotajes, o, por ejemplo, a nivel de ingeniería, de cosas más tangibles. Entonces sí siento que la licenciatura o en sí la lingüística en todo el tema cualitativo sí nos vemos un poquito cenicientos. It was the expression that she used. A veces. Porque cuando vamos, por ejemplo, a encuentros nacionales, la gente está esperando ver un algo, ¿no? Entonces, por ejemplo, llegan los de otras universidades, de facultades de ciencias básicas y dicen, venga, le muestro un robot. Entonces, por supuesto, siento que eso es más llamativo. So what about our kind of research, for example? So you see, so this is a kind of criticism. And professor's reflections towards seedbeds, I really like this expression. Soy un convencido y un enamorado de la estrategia de semilleros, for example. Okay. In here, yo creo que el semillero es la mejor forma de hacer escuela de investigación, for example. Okay. And graduates profile. So another aspect that caught my attention was to see that some of the professors that I interviewed were part of semilleros before. Okay, and there was one professor that was telling me that two of her students are now doctors in Gestión para la Paz, right? They study in Spain, sorry, and now they are in, you know, like working on different aspects related to that. Okay, and well, so my reflection is on the importance of keeping the work with research seedbeds. I have a video here. It's about our semillero. I am co-leading a semillero with Professor Sandra Palencia at Universidad Libre. So, Professor Adriana, tell me if we have time for showing this. It's like 4 minutes long.
Yes, Clara, no problem. Let's show it and then we go over Q&A and some important information.
Perfect. I don't know about the sound. Let me see. Please confirm if you can hear it. One moment. Can you?
No, I think you need to share screen again, maybe with the little box that says share sound.
Okay, one moment, give me a sec.
In the meantime, while you share screen again, Professor Miguel Bautista asks, do you know any information about how much production in terms of research in each city has been produced? Which one produces more in academic production in research?
No, I don't know. Like, I don't know that information like per city.
city.
No,
But you have all the bibliography that you showed us.
I do. Now, yes?
Yes.
Yes? Okay.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Olga Lucía y quiero contarles que mi motivación para ingresar al semillero fue inicialmente la garantía de un proceso investigativo fructífero, pero descubrí a lo largo del proceso lo valioso que es la compañía de mis compañeras y de las profes Sandra y Clara.
Hola, mi nombre es Nicole Pineda y quiero decirles que lo más gratificante de haber pertenecido al semillero ha sido tener la oportunidad, primero, de aprender cómo se realiza una investigación educativa, ya que es base fundamental para los docentes. Segundo, contar con profesionales que me ayudan a realizar dicha investigación. Y tercero, conocer otros proyectos que nutren asimismo el semillero y también a nuestros colegas y compañeros.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Elizabeth Reyes, estoy en el semillero ILET y hoy les contaré con qué frecuencia se reúne el semillero. Bueno, dentro de los deberes del semillero están los encuentros mensuales, en donde semilleristas y profesores escogemos un horario adecuado cada mes para abordar varios temas.
Hola, mi nombre es Laura y lo que hacemos en las reuniones mensuales es compartir los avances que hemos tenido en la investigación, también las dificultades que hemos encontrado y recibimos sugerencias de parte de nuestros compañeros y de los demás asesores. En las reuniones semanales que tenemos se hace la planeación de cómo se va a continuar con la investigación, se resuelven las dudas y se lee el trabajo que se ha hecho, se leen los avances y todo lo que se tiene preparado para cada sesión.
Buenas tardes, yo soy Juan Felipe Buitrago Blanco, pertenezco al semillero ILET. Voy a responder a la pregunta pues que realizaron. ¿Cada cuánto me reúno con mi asesora de investigación? Bueno, todas las semanas me reúno con ella, cada 8 días, en donde evaluamos los avances de la investigación, de cómo se va realizando el trabajo de grado, y pues tanto ella como yo aprendemos sobre este tema de la inclusión, del diseño universal para el aprendizaje, y ella asigna unas tareas para que pues el proyecto vaya avanzando. Muchas gracias por su atención y colaboración.
Mi nombre es Liliana Forigua, pertenezco al semillero ILET desde hace año y medio. La principal ventaja de pertenecer al semillero es que puedes empezar a hacer tu trabajo de grado con anterioridad, cuentas con un acompañamiento constante por parte de las asesoras y además puedes presentarte en diferentes eventos presentando dicho proyecto.
Hola, mi nombre es Angélica Fox Reyes. Presenté mi avance de investigación en el Congreso Internacional de Práctica Pedagógica 2021 organizado por la Universidad de Caldas. Debo decir que fue una experiencia enriquecedora porque pude presentar mi avance de investigación a otro público y de igual forma pude hacer cambios en la misma.
Todos, soy Lina Rivas y si quieres ser parte de este semillero debes tener en cuenta 3 cosas. Lo primero es tener una idea clara de lo que quieras desarrollar en tu tesis de grado. Lo segundo es tener la disponibilidad de tiempo, ya que es una modalidad extracurricular. Y lo tercero y más importante es tener toda la actitud frente a cambios y sugerencias en el desarrollo de tu tesis de grado.
Buen día a todos, mi nombre es Natalia Delgado. Gracias al semillero ILET y a mis profes de tesis pude crear un material innovador y hacerlo parte de mi proyecto de grado. Este material innovador fue crear mi propio canal de TikTok en donde explico expresiones idiomáticas en inglés.
Hola a todos, mi nombre es Alexandra Piedrahita, llevo ya casi 2 años siendo parte del semillero ILED y para concluir un poco con todos los beneficios que trae consigo ser parte de un grupo de investigación, me gustaría mencionar el hecho de que gracias al semillero es posible publicar nuestros procesos investigativos. Entonces, digamos que ese es el objetivo, ¿no?, de todos, poder contar con la publicación de nuestros proyectos y contar con el respaldo de la universidad en este proceso es aún más.
Okay. And in here, some of my references, because there are many, and this is it.
Professor
Thank you so
Clara,
much.
leave that picture there, leave it there, because I am sure that many people will be contacting you. You also have some academic production that is very interesting. And I would have to say that I work with a couple of firms at universities, and one of the hardest part is always research, because many students in our community believe that the research part is just to produce a thesis to graduate. But we are losing that part, you know, that sense, that feeling of research, what it means, the discovery, the struggle, the passion. And I think that what you are showing us today is that we can break the paradigm of languages teachers only as languages, and going back to that part of being teachers. We focus on much more than only the 4 skills. And that is also part of what we wanted to bring everyone here today. People are saying in the chat, thank you for sharing the meaningful experiences, and thank you a lot for this excellent work. So I would say that it is very important for us as a community to understand what these processes lead to, and its improvement in our community. These seedbeds are definitely the best way to show our under our pre-service teachers, and also teachers in any context, you know, like specialization, master's, PhD, that we are teachers and we are here to share our experiences. I don't know if there is any other comment from the audience, or if I just jump into my advertising. What, something that you want to say for closing the session, your session, Professor?
No, I want to thank ASOCOPI for this opportunity of sharing this with you all, and to thank all the professors that are in here that I also interviewed. Thank you so much.
Professor Jose Vicente, you're raising your hand. Just open your microphone. Let us know your thoughts.
Hello, Clara. I don't know if you guys can see me. It's
yes, we can see you. Hi.
But congratulations and thank you for sharing this research. I wrote in the chat. It was much needed to characterize what's happening with seedbeds in language teaching. Some very impressive findings. I just want to mention, for example, the fact that almost 100%, like 98% of students in research beds mentioned that they are motivated to doing research and learning to do research. And as Adriana mentioned, sometimes that's not the case. Oftentimes students take research courses and they end up hating research. That is just like a requirement for graduation, but they don't see themselves doing research. And what is happening in research seedbeds is pretty amazing. Another, element to highlight is the lack of institutional support. All the struggles, because the people who are engaged in working with seedbeds, we sort of know that, firsthand, but when you see what is going on in the whole country, that you're not alone, that pretty much everyone who coordinates our research seedbeds has to deal with lack of institutional support, bureaucracy, and still, despite all of those difficulties, students feeling motivated and engaged, and that's pretty amazing. So thank you for the research. I will be writing to you. I want to read the article and the thesis, that. So thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you. I love you. You were one of my professors interview.
Me too. I think another important element is creating these networks. I mean, within ASOCOPI, which is a crucial network for all language teachers, the ones that are working with research training and research seedbeds, I think you're doing a great work of connecting us with each other. So thank you.
Thank you very much. And with that being said, as if we had rehearsed, which we didn't, I want to share with you that now our call for papers is open. So remember that we're going to meet in Manizales this year from October 12th to 14th. And this year invitation, this year invite is for all teachers, teachers in public schools, teachers in private schools, teachers, researchers. We also have space for undergraduate students. We have, of course, different prizes. And I mean, that's the part that we can kind of deal with. But the most important is that you know that ASOCOPI is not an association for PhD researchers. Of course we have, because we are a well-fed community, you know, we are a community that is growing. But the most important is that we want you to share your experiences with us. Please share your experiences with us. Join us in Manizales, October 12 to 14. Remember to follow us in social media. And we also have something else that we want to share with you today, and is our diplomados. ASOCOPI is not only the conference that we usually go to, though there are many things happening in the conference, like the conference workshop, the promotion to academic work that our teachers have in our community, but we also have diplomados. Our next diplomado, which is started on April the 10th and finishing on the 2nd of July, and is 12 weeks, is teaching English to children. We have 4 modules with experts on this topic. We are going to work mostly remote, but we are going to have active interaction with you. And additionally, of course, we have some special discounts for groups of 3 and up for public school teachers and undergraduate students. So please visit our webpage, check on the theme for this year's conference, and check for these special offers that we have for you. And we hope to see you in our diplomado. There are many ways in which you can contribute to the community, not only by attending these webinars or registering in our events. We are going to be part of some conversatorios this year. If you need us, let us know. Remember that we are building community. If you have ideas, we are here for you. So thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for being part of this growing community. And we really hope to be in touch. Mel Valdivia says, following Professor Abad's idea, we could have a webinar that we can share experiences with Seedbeds. That would be amazing. What about a conversatorio? Let's talk, Professor Mel Valdivia. I'll be in touch. So thank you very much. And if you have some extra time today, at 6, a friend of mine, The Thesis Won't Kill Me, in Instagram, especially for students that are struggling with writing their thesis. I do hear some free advertisement. She's a professor in one of our webinars, The Thesis Won't Kill Me in Instagram, ASOCOPI Oficial in Instagram. And you can see this webinar in YouTube. All right, we will be posting it tomorrow. So thank you very much. Thank you, Professor Onatra, for joining us today. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful afternoon.
Okay, thank you. Thank
you,
so
everyone.
much.
Keep in touch.
In touch.
Okay, yeah.
See you in Diplomado. See you next month, last Thursday. See you in Manizales.
Have a good night. Thank you. Very good food for thought. I really love the talk. Thank you. And congrats.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
work.
Congrats on your PhD.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye.